Welcome in. Welcome in. Farzin Vasugian here with you for another episode of the Chief Zone podcast, post-game edition. What a night for Kansas City, baby. The Chiefs win. The Royals win to tie up the series in the ALDS. Today lived up to the hype, folks. Today was a great day to be a Kansas City sports fan. The Royals playing great baseball, Blue October in full swing, and the Chiefs, your reigning Super Bowl champions, undefeated, number one in the AFC and tied with the Vikings for the best record in the NFL. Got a lot of things to go over today. I'm excited. We're chatting today. I'll give you guys a link in a moment, but man, the stat sheet is not going to be very reflective of it. I mean, if you're one of those people who doesn't watch the games and you just want to look at the box score, oh, Mahomes had 0 touchdowns and an interception. Yeah, if that's all you see from that, you clearly didn't watch the game. I thought the Chiefs did a lot of great things here that are not going to show up on the stat sheet. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman even alluded to that at the end of the broadcast there. The Chiefs did a lot of things, a lot of great things in this game. They also did some things wrong in this game, and we're going to go over that as well. But there are a lot of positives to take from this one here. I thought the Chiefs played great. They were much better. They got it to a better start. Mahomes was getting the ball to wide open players down the field. And the defense, they gave Derek Carr a really hard time in this game. Overall, a great team win for Kansas City. Loved what I saw in this one here. That was awesome. That was a great win for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, by the way, Chiefs fans, you guys know what's going on? A lot of good things going on. Chiefs right now have a bye week, but their next home game is going to be a Monday Night Football game. That's going to be in the first week of November. By the way, while the Chiefs are away, the Royals are going to be playing 2 playoff games at the K, and you can get your tickets from SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com. New customers can put in my promo code Farzin, and you can save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Hey, those playoff tickets are not cheap. I was looking at the prices, not cheap at all. So, hey, why not use my promo code if you're a new customer and save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek? Go to SeatGeek.com, enter my promo code Farzin, and you will save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. I see you guys in the chat right now. I see a lot of you guys excited here. Everyone's feeling pretty good about this Chiefs team. A really good game for Kansas City. Some negatives as well, but there are far more positives than negatives in this one here. Let's go over this here. Let me start with Patrick Mahomes, because a lot of people making a big deal about Patrick Mahomes, his turnover rate, and just kind of the shaky start he's had to the season. I think some of it is being blown out of proportion. Some of the criticism's fair. But I thought Patrick Mahomes, ever since the first quarter of that Chargers game, the last 7 quarters the Chiefs have played, I thought Patrick Mahomes has played much better football. He looks like he's in his MVP form. He's not putting up monster numbers, but man, he looked great today. 28 of 39 passing for 331 yards. Should have had a touchdown and no picks there, and we'll get to that in a moment. But man, Patrick Mahomes, not just that, ran 6 times for 22 yards. That guy was making the Saints defense look like fools at one point. A couple of times, actually. The way he's spinning around. I mean, Patrick, I said this at halftime. And I just, what he did in the second half just really reassured my comments here. Patrick Mahomes played with a lot of confidence in this game. Was it perfect in this game? No, not at all. But I think the Chiefs did a lot of things right in this game that they had not been doing in previous games. I mean, this is a Saints team that blew out a couple of teams in the first couple of weeks. Okay, the Panthers, listen, even the Bengals beat the Panthers. Everyone can beat the Panthers except for the Raiders. And then the defense for the Saints, I mean, they've been doing a good job limiting a lot of opponents here. Should the Chiefs have maybe scored a little bit more? Yeah, of course. But hey, you win 26-13 at home. You win by 2 scores. You'll take that. You will absolutely take that. This is a Chiefs team that came to play today. And one of my keys And if you guys watch my reel from this morning, one of my keys to the game for the Chiefs was to get off to a better start, because the Chiefs defense, they have allowed a score in every single opening possession. The Chiefs defense, that is. The Chiefs offense, I'm trying to think. They had a touchdown in week 1, a field goal in week 2, an interception to open up their drive in week 3, and then a fumble last week. So what happens today? For the first time this season, the Chiefs defense does not allow a score. In fact, they get an interception on a great play by Brian Cook. And then the Chiefs return the favor by getting Kareem Hunt to the end zone. Kareem Hunt, his first touchdown as a Chief since 2018, obviously making the most of his second opportunity the Chiefs have given him, which is turning into a great story. And let's go to Kareem Hunt next, because he played very well, helping the Chiefs move forward, move the chains. 27 runs for 102 yards. 102 yards. Kareem Hunt's played really good football in these 2 games for Kansas City, relying on him a lot. Carson Steele got involved a little bit, helping the Chiefs, had a nice 8-yard run at one point. Didn't see Samaje Perine on the ground. Saw a little bit of him through the air, but ground game, I liked what I saw. The yard per carry average might not have been there, but I think that's overall a bit misleading there, because Kareem Hunt did a lot of things to help the Chiefs move the football and get close to the end zone on multiple occasions there. So I love what I saw from Kareem Hunt in this game, and I think he said a couple of weeks ago in his press conference, he's ready to shock the world and prove everyone wrong and let everyone know that he still has it, and he proved that in this game. Now, let's go to the receiving game, and I want to start with Juju Smith-Schuster, because let me start with the negative for Juju, because I alluded to this earlier with Patrick Mahomes' stat line. Juju Smith-Schuster, you got to catch that. You got to catch it. And I know a lot of people talking about, oh, well, why didn't the Chiefs run? Okay, I don't disagree, but I think, you got to throw off your opponents because they're expecting it, and the Chiefs did exactly. The play worked. The play completely worked until Juju could not hold on to the football there when he's trying to make that catch in the end zone. If he catches that, this is a big time blowout for Kansas City. Somewhat of a one-sided game, and especially statistically with how much the Chiefs moved the football, Chiefs dominated. Now with Juju, he has that mishap there. What does Juju do on the next drive? He has a 50-yard catch and run play, making up for that catch that he dropped. Should have been a touchdown, turned into an interception. So he made up for it on the next drive with that 50-yard play, and they cap it off with an Xavier Worthy touchdown. Xavier Worthy's second straight game with a touchdown for the Chiefs. Keep something in mind right now, folks. The Chiefs are without their top 2 wide receivers. They're without their top 2 running backs, and they're going out there moving the football. This is not a team that's making excuses about their injury mishaps right now. And while everyone else wants to bitch and moan about the officiating, which, by the way, Xavier Worthy, he did draw a pass interference penalty later in the game, but should have had drawn another one earlier. And then Chris Jones getting held. Jason Dunn was pointing this out on Twitter. But the Chiefs supposedly have the refs in their pockets. Explain that one to me. Funny how that all works. But Juju Smith-Schuster played great. 7 catches, 130 yards. This does not look like a guy that's lost a step. I think this is a move. If you're the New England Patriots, you have to be asking yourself, how in the hell did we not make it work with Juju Smith-Schuster? How? How do you not let? Well, then again, it's New England. Nothing's working for New England. Them winning against the Bengals was a miracle at this rate. It kind of came close to beating the Dolphins, but that's a topic for another time. Travis Kelce had a great game as well. Had 7 catches in the first half, finished with 9 for 70 yards. He did go out of the game. He did finish the game, but didn't get involved a whole lot ever since that big hit right before the interception by former Chief Colin Saunders. But man, in general, I liked what I saw from the offense. Juju stepped up. That guy looked like a number 1 receiver in the NFL, a very good number 1 receiver in the NFL. Filling in for Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice, who appears might not play again this season. Juju Smith-Schuster stepped up tonight. Travis Kelce stepped up tonight. Mecole Hardman got involved. 4 catches for 33 yards. Also had a run at one point, if I'm not mistaken, or they called it a pass. Okay, yeah, they called that a pass. The jet sweep I'm thinking of. So never mind that there. Xavier Worthy, that's what I'm thinking of. Xavier Worthy, he had a run at one point. He had a couple of catches as well. And again, we mentioned the touchdown he had and a nice moment between him and his mom as he gave the football to her, which was a really special moment. Noah Gray had a couple of catches. Should have had a touchdown there, but Jawaan Taylor, man, that's the only big negative I have today with the Chiefs offense. Outside of the Juju drop, and the Kelce missed block on the Carson Steele fumble, which, by the way, I think that's a big reason why Carson Steele's stat line doesn't look as nice because of the loss there. But the offensive tackle play, especially from Jawaan Taylor, man, he's been a liability. He's holding this team back. He nullified a touchdown in the playoffs against the Dolphins. He nullified a touchdown today. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm hoping the Chiefs can work something out with him where they can just pay him out this offseason and let him go. Because at this point, and Melissa says it in the chat perfectly, Taylor has been a thorn in our side too much. Yeah. Inconsistencies and penalties. It's at a point where it's like, okay, you gotta go. We can't afford to have this every single time. It's just not working out. But in general, I mean, the offense, the way they got involved, Jody Fortson had a catch in this game, coming back in his first game back with the Chiefs. A lot of guys got involved for the Chiefs in this one. Wide receivers had a slow start in this game. Man, I just can't get over Juju Smith-Schuster's day. Juju Smith-Schuster had 7 catches for 130 yards. Kareem Hunt had 27 rushes for 102 yards. These two guys were not on the Chiefs roster at the start of training camp, and they come back to Kansas City and they have 100-yard performances. Cheers to that, my friends. That was beautiful. I love what I saw from the Chiefs, especially to start off the second half, the 5 straight runs to open up the second half, and then a nice play action to Noah Gray to get going, to completely throw off the Saints defense. I loved it. That was fun to watch. Chef's kiss. Let's go to the defense. Played very well. Had a few those 2 touchdown drives by the Saints there. The Saints looked great on those 2 drives, and the Chiefs defense looked like they needed a lot of help there. But outside of those 2 touchdown drives, Kansas City's defense was wonderful to watch. The interception on the opening drive of the game, and then on the following 2 possessions the Saints had, they went 3 and out, combining for 2 yards. One of them was a 5-yard drive. The other one was a negative 3-yard drive. They forced another 3 and out in the first half. And then in the second half, forced a punt, got a turnover on down, got another turnover on down. I mean, the Chiefs would just send the house on Derek Carr, who left the game with an oblique injury, so hopefully he's okay. But in general, you guys know my thoughts on Derek Carr. He just hasn't stepped up when he needed to. There's a reason why the Raiders finally gave up on him after 9 seasons. And he comes to New Orleans, looked great for the first couple of weeks, and then you start playing some better defenses, and like the Eagles, like the Falcons, and now here you are in Kansas City, and the Chiefs didn't let them light up the scoreboard like they had been the first 2 weeks. What did they put up? 91 points the first 2 weeks? I don't even think they might have half of that, give or take, in their last 3 games. And the Chiefs defense looking great. Chris Jones going out there, just causing chaos, creating havoc for opposing quarterback, not letting them do what they want to do. Shamari Connor looking great. Shamari Connor is doing a lot of good things for Kansas City's defense this year, playing good cover defense, going after quarterbacks, which we know Spags loves to do. I keep reminding you guys of this. This is a lot of fun to watch. Harrison Butker missed the 51-yarder. I mean, listen, when you attempt as many field goals as he does, he's bound to miss here and there. He missed like a long range one earlier. I think it was last week. And then he also missed a PAT. Okay. In general, I mean, Harrison Butker still to me is a top tier kicker in the NFL. So I love what I'm seeing. And Hollywood Brown on Twitter going out there showing love to Travis Kelce, to Chris Jones, to Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, this is great right now. Again, let me remind you guys, the Chiefs are without their top 2 wide receivers and their top 2 running backs, and they're 5-0 going into the bye week. Chiefs aren't feeling sorry for themselves, making excuses here. it's next man up. You got to go to work. You can't sit here and just cry about, oh, well, we were supposed to put up more points and we were supposed to have these guys. Yeah, I was excited for the potential with this offense. Unfortunately, shit happens, and the Chiefs aren't moping around. They're going out there, and they're off to a much better start this year than they were last year. 5-0 going into the bye week, number 1 in the AFC. I'm loving the way the Chiefs are looking right now. I love how this team is playing right now. It's not the prettiest football, but this is a team win. And I think the offense, they're getting it together, and they're playing gradually better football as the season goes on here. I love it, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that. What a night for Kansas City. The Chiefs beat the Saints on Monday Night Football, the reigning champs, undefeated going into the bye week, and the Kansas City Royals tie up the series at 1. What a night for Kansas City. I mean, I woke up this morning just thinking about the Royals and the Chiefs and all the hype coming into today. Today lived up to the hype. If you're a Kansas City sports fan, you are happy. This was a damn good day for Kansas City. All right. You guys have been waiting very patiently. I just commented with the link to call into the podcast. There it is, right there on YouTube and Facebook. I want to hear from you guys. I know you guys have some thoughts. Positive, negatives, hopefully mostly positives. And yes, I know there are some negatives, and I've already touched on those, but I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know what you guys are thinking. 5-0 going into the bye week. That's where Kansas City is right now. And by the way, Kansas City's doing this without their top 2 wide receivers and their top 2 running backs. I'm going to keep reminding you guys of that. I want everyone, and I know there are a lot of Chiefs naysayers who listen to this podcast because they'd rather listen to me in this podcast than listen to their a podcast about their favorite team. So I know those people are listening and they're not saying shit because they're very quiet in these last couple of weeks, which is interesting. I mean, their Wi-Fi goes out, and but they can listen and all this stuff. Yeah, funny how that works. The Chiefs are doing this without a lot of guys right now. Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice. On the defensive side, Charles Omenihu, who's going to make the defense only better when he comes back. This Chiefs team is playing some damn good football right now. I know you're all in love with what this team is doing. This team's looking really good right now. Let me pull up something for you guys, because I want everyone to see this very clearly. Who is number 1? Let me just first make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, okay. Who's number 1 right there? Kansas City, 5-0. And even if Kansas City lost today, they would still have the number 1 seed. Now, obviously, this is very, very early. So, just it's early, but still, this is the kind of start you want to have, because this is not the start Kansas City had last year. Now, let's look at the playoff picture for now. You got 3 AFC West teams. Got the Texans there, the Ravens there, the Bills there, all division leaders right now. The Steelers, they've slipped the past couple of games. You got the Broncos and the Chargers. They're right now among a couple of the wild card teams. You got a couple teams just outside right now. Again, it's early. Let's see. I'm going down the list here. The Jets, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Titans. Oh, look at that. The Patriots are not the worst team in the AFC. The Jaguars are not the worst team in the AFC. The Raiders, I mean, they're not. Let's see. What team's missing? I mean, I just showed you guys the top 15 teams. The Raiders are not the worst team. The Patriots are not the worst team. Who's the worst team in the AFC? Oh, yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals. The worst team in the AFC right now. Talked all that shit just to start 1-4. It's funny. I got Bengals fans lighting me up. Oh, Burrow has better stats than Mahomes. Congratulations. I'm sure they're sending you a Lombardi for that. Just like first it was 3-0, 3-1. Burrow had, they were bragging about that. And now they're bragging that Joe Burrow has the best stats in football. Yeah, well, the best stats in football right now have you the worst record in the AFC. Obviously, it's early, and I think the Bengals will get going. But if the NFL draft started today, the Bengals would have the number 2 pick in the draft. The only team below them, the Panthers. The freaking Panthers. Have fun with your stats, Bengals fans. I know they're watching, but they're not saying anything. They're not saying anything. Yeah, I love Josh's sarcasm text here. They always start slow. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. You can't be talking about starting slow. And by the way, they don't do very well in their divisional games. And Lamar Jackson choked that game away, and the Bengals were like, "No, hold my beer. We'll choke this back to you," because that's just the way the Bengals are. All right. Great night for Kansas City. A lot of you guys have a lot to say. Let me just comment with the link one last time. Got a couple people on hold. I'm going to go to those guys right now. Bob, you are hitting leadoff on this wonderful night for Kansas City. Bob, welcome to the Chief Zone. How are you, sir?
Thanks, Forrest. How are you? What a
Good,
game,
man.
Hey, I tell you what, I got to start with the GM on what a fabulous job he has about juggling players in here to keep this team going. And then Andy Reid figuring out the magic of this team and their talents and how he could use them. And man, I mean, it's just when you look at it, man, you just say, wow, here we've faced doomsday, brother.
Yeah.
We have faced doomsday with our injuries. And we're still winning. And this is a big win because this New Orleans team was a pretty good team. Did you see in the red zone they're like number 1 or number 2 in the red zone? So I'm very happy where we're at. And Patty took control of his game today, but it's like I said last week, when he's on the move, man, he's deadly.
Yeah.
He's creative. His juices are flowing. I mean, it's just fantastic to watch him play. I think our biggest things that we have to work on, in my opinion, is these tackles, man. These tackles keep costing us penalties, and it's going to bite us in the butt somewhere. But
I don't disagree.
But they're not out there like a dime a dozen, man. So it's hard. You can't just go get you one, It's too late for that. So maybe Veach will pull some magic and go buy us one, But,
or the refs.
Exactly. But hey, man, it's a good time to be a Kansas City fan. Royals played some good ball tonight. I had both TVs burning, and
nice.
It was fun. So anyway, I'm going to step back and listen to everybody else. Thanks for having me on again, and go Chiefs, go Royals, and man, your show's cooking, man.
I appreciate you, Bob. Thank you so much for calling in, and yeah, good night for Kansas City. Hey, real quickly, while we got a lot of people watching, if you guys haven't done so already, I just commented with the link in the chat. Please subscribe to the Chief Zone podcast on YouTube as well. We've been growing on all the social media sites. That's the one I've got the least followers on right now, trying to grow that YouTube channel. So if you guys haven't done so already, please make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thechiefzone. Let's keep this rolling along here. If you guys haven't done so, click on the link to call in. Let's go to Terrence. He's been waiting. Terrence, what's going on, sir?
Farzine, what's going on, brother?
I'm good.
Hey, Bob. First things off, who that? Who they? We they. So I'm gonna just ask a serious question. I mean, is this a serious question? I mean, people might say that being cocky over the top, but who beating us? Who? I mean, who? I mean, quite honestly, we're out there with the ghost of Juju Smith-Schuster, whose knees were resurrected by like Lazarus in the Bible, going off for 137 yards.
Yeah.
We got 2 Hy-Vee shopping carts as left and right tackles out there just like turnstiles, and Mahomes is out there dancing like he's, like he's the son of the love child of Randall Cunningham and Michael Vick out there making guys look stupid. I mean, this is with all of these guys hurt, with some of these guys come on, and that's it. And even if we go ahead and make a trade for someone, I mean, just look at the schedule. I just don't see Buffalo. I mean, you see what's going on with Buffalo, San Francisco, the Browns. I don't see. I'm not saying we're gonna go 20-0 or anything like that. You know, that's ridiculous. But I just don't see for as anybody that has a legitimate shot, if we're on our A game, to go ahead and beat us, unless we beat ourselves.
Listen, as you said, we're not going to go 20-0. You'll drop a game or two against really good football teams, and then you'll drop a game or two you shouldn't have. We've seen it every year, even in the Super Bowl runs. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I expect this team to win 13 or 14 games, even with the injuries right now they're dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you know, so it's great to be a Chiefs fan. It's great to go ahead and watch all these other fan bases just go ahead and just hyperventilate every time that we win a game because they swear it's the refs, they swear it's Taylor Swift, they swear it's, I don't know, whatever, you know, it's Jason Kelsey. It's so many other things that they can go ahead and say, but we just find a way to just go ahead and keep on winning and keep winning. And I love it that these fan bases are like curled up in the fetal position at night because they just can't go ahead and stand it. I love it.
No doubt about that. They're definitely struggling. Well, Terrence, I appreciate you calling in, brother. Thank you for calling in. You have a good night. Enjoy this win tonight for Kansas City. Listen, I mean, to go back to his comment, I love the shopping cart comment. That was great. I made shopping carts. That was great. But in general, it's like, yeah, I mean, listen, the Patriots dealt with this for 18 years. And now the Chiefs are dealing with it. This is what losers do when they can't win. And especially now with fantasy football and betting, and when people want to win all that money against the Chiefs and it doesn't go their way, so they want to cry about it. I mean, that's just the way. I was listening to Infinity Sports Radio, which used to be CBS Sports Radio. I was listening to Jody Mack, a friend of mine who I've been on his show many times. And someone called into his show making all these predictions and then admitted that he's rooting for his bets to come true. It's like, okay. You want your predictions and your bets to come true, but you also got to be realistic. Like, come on. Some sports fans are they're hilarious. They're great. They really are. Swaggy J, you've been waiting very patiently. What's going on, Swaggy J?
What's up, brother? So before I hop into the game, I first want to talk about how much I appreciate you. I think that these post-game, the halftime, the podcast, I don't know how many NFL fan bases have a guy like you. You may be one of a kind, but regardless, this is always really fun. Win or lose, I always look forward to hopping on after the game and at least listening and sometimes calling in. So totally appreciate you. Thanks for putting this on, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Let's talk about how Andy Reid, you know, the front office, Patrick Mahomes is basically Dom Toretto. They're literally picking up spare parts that other teams have discarded, just putting them into the system and out racing Ferraris, McLarens, Lamborghinis. They're just going out there with guys that everybody had basically left for dead. You got a 100-yard rusher tonight. You got a 100-yard receiver tonight that were released by teams this year. It's just unbelievable what they're able to do with these guys and just plug and place. I mean, there were some different sets with 4 tight end sets tonight, and New Orleans was not ready for that at all. On a couple different pass plays, it really opened up Kelsey in some unique ways that I hadn't seen them do all year. Jody Fortson on that great little catch that he had. They're adding new wrinkles throughout the year. And this is, you know, typical Andy Reid. It gets more complex as we go throughout the year. But tonight was so much fun to watch compared to the first 4 weeks. Just the different additions and the different looks that they gave the defense. And then Kareem Hunt just running his ass off. And the last thing, can we all agree 2 yards are in on the goal line that we just need to hand it to Kareem the rest of the year? The guy's going to get the touchdown. Let's stop messing around. I like the Kelsey, you know, hand off, the little trick play there, but let's stop getting cute down there and just hand it off. Thanks, man.
Here's my thing, Swaggy. I have no problem with trick plays and all that. Trick plays are a double-edged sword. If they don't work, you're getting criticized for it. That play worked. It worked. It was just that the last process right there was the catch. That's the only thing.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. Thank you, Swaggy J. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't disagree with him. I get where he's coming from. And a lot of people were saying, well, why don't you just run the ball in that situation? That's just the way things work sometimes. Like, you got to be better about that. Open lines right now. If you guys want to call in, please do. I'm going to comment with the link again. So let me know. Just click that link, turn on your audio and video, put in your name, and hop on. Let's chat. Let's have some fun here. Kareem Hunt's playing very well. And again, the redemption story is nice, but this is, what's a big part of that redemption story is he missed out on this dynasty run. He missed out on these Super Bowls. Well, at his age, 29, which, is pretty late in the NFL at the running back position, as much as I hate to say it, he's got a chance to find a way to end his career as a Super Bowl champion. He's got that opportunity, and you can tell this guy is fighting for it. 2 games in, he's played really, really well. He's been a big part of Kansas City's 2 wins against the Chargers, helping the Chiefs go down the field and capping it off with a Samaje Perine touchdown. He had 27 yards of total offense on that game-winning drive. If it wasn't for him, you might not have gotten there. I'm sure the Chiefs would have come up with other plans and all of that, but he was a big part of it. He's really been helping out. You can tell Mahomes, he really missed having a guy like Kareem Hunt. Not to say Damian Williams, especially in the postseason, didn't do anything. Of course he did. Isaiah Pacheco's obviously been great. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's had flashes, mostly his rookie year. But, man, the consistency you're getting from Kareem Hunt is really, really good. By the way, let me know, do you guys agree or disagree with me? Because I'm watching Kareem Hunt, and I really do look forward to the day where Isaiah Pacheco comes back later this year and teams up with Kareem Hunt. See, Kyle just beat me to it. He said Hunt and Pacheco together are going to be crazy. Oh, that's going to be a deadly combo. But when I'm watching Hunt, I kind of get I get flashbacks of Isaiah Pacheco. Do any of you guys see that? Like, Isaiah Pacheco is a very physical runner. Kareem Hunt's kind of the same way. This guy always welcomes the contact and not afraid of going in there, going one-on-one or even one-on-two against some defenders. I just get a lot of Isaiah Pacheco vibes from Kareem Hunt. I think the only difference is Pacheco kind of gets all hyped up, whereas Kareem Hunt tries to stay calm, cool, and collected. Do you guys see that? I that's what I get a lot of. That's what I see. I just feel like this is a Chiefs team right now that is doing a lot of good things, and Kareem Hunt's a big part of that. And as a couple of you guys have already alluded, I'm excited to see Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco team up together. That's going to be an awesome running back duo, and you need that right now with your wide receivers. But listen, if Juju Smith-Schuster can keep playing like this, if Xavier Worthy can keep getting better and better, and then you have Kareem Hunt and Pacheco together, this is a team that can three-peat, even with a lot of the guys that you're missing right now. And we know Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's got the 21-day window right now. Okay, guys, people are asking, how do I call in? I keep commenting with the link. Let me comment again. We've got people on hold right now. I just commented with a link. It says call into the show. So hopefully you guys see that. I even tried pinning one of those comments. I'm hoping it's showing up. Maybe it shows up on the phone version, but not the desktop version. And by the way, I missed the comment, but somebody talked about the Kelce lateral. You know what's really funny is on that drive, the Chiefs were facing 2nd and 34. Joe Buck called it second and Overland Park. Okay, you guys see the links. Good. Okay, so for those of you missing the links, scroll up a bit. You'll see my comments there. Okay, I'm glad everyone can see it. Good. He called it 2nd and Overland Park. I mean, if you're from Kansas City or you live in Kansas City, you understand that reference. But if you don't live in the Kansas City area, nobody understands what in the hell Joe Buck is talking. Overland Park? What does that mean? I mean, some people might have misheard him and thought they heard Orland Park. Yeah, he did say Overland Park. I'm like, I don't think a lot of the viewing audience is going to understand that. Listen, I get these guys travel a lot, so they get familiar with some of the suburbs in the area, but it's like, I thought it was funny that he picked a city from the Kansas side. Like, I don't know. Listen, I like Joe Buck. I'm not really too crazy on announcer complaints. That's just me, but I listen. I like him. I know I'm in the minority there. Man, I was trying to DVR the Manning cast, but I didn't get a chance. I'd love to watch that Paul Rudd interview if it's out there somewhere. So I'll check it out later. Daniel, you're on the Chiefs Zone podcast. How are you, Daniel?
I'm doing great. Great win. I like the balanced 39 passes, 39 rushes. I mean, that's pretty good balance. I was saying that last week that we might do a heavy run team, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 different receivers catching balls. It was great. But also, you're talking about Joe Buck. I love the shot he did on Cincinnati when Matt Araiza saved the field goal with the ball holding, and it's like I was like Joe Buck shooting out strays.
I noticed that. I'm glad someone else noticed that.
Yeah, like I was like, man, that was great. But it was a great win. I'm in Florida. I'm riding the hurricane path of this big old hurricane that's coming in a couple days.
That's right.
So this is a great distraction to see a great, and the fact that I wasn't, we weren't on our pins and needles like we were the last few games. So it was a nice, relaxing game. Great win. I like the way the defense stepped up, knocked out the quarterback, which is always great. To see, and a little 6 straight games with interceptions. So, but I know this one wasn't his fault because Juju should have caught that. And then I didn't realize Saunders could run that fast. So that was pretty crazy.
He used to be a running back in high school, and I think in his 40 time, I mean, that dude was pretty impressive. So that was not a surprise to me. His ball security skills, that was also impressive.
Yeah, so that was good. I'm glad. I said I'm glad they're gonna be on the bye. Do you think Edwards-Helaire comes back after this bye?
He's got an opportunity. I think you've got to. I mean, you're going to be short on time for being able to activate him. So it would not surprise me if he plays that in that 49ers game.
49er game. Okay, yeah. Then and then I don't think we need to do a trade because I'm with you. If we're gonna bring up a wide receiver, bring up Remigio. I don't think we need to do it. We don't need to do a trade. Juju has found the fountain of youth, at least for this game, and Kareem Hunt. Yeah, I'm with everybody else. I can't wait. Kareem Hunt and Pacheco and the same 1-2 punch is going to be a great thing to see, hopefully, at the end of the year. But keep up the good work, man, and I will talk to you later.
All right. Appreciate you, Daniel. And, hey, stay safe out there in Florida. I think someone else commented and called in with that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just never a good situation there. So take care of yourselves out there. Glad this was a distraction for you tonight. A really good night for Kansas City. Yeah, Aaron's talking about the time of possession, and Joe Buck pointed that out on the broadcast too at the end of the game. This is something opposing teams have tried to do against Kansas City. If you play an elite quarterback, like a Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, or a Tom Brady type of football player, the way you beat them is by winning time of possession. And if you win time of possession, you keep them on the sidelines, the elite quarterback that is, for a very long time. And they have fewer plays. That's how you beat those top tier players. And now the last couple of games, it's been the other way around where Kansas City is going out there winning time of possession. I think Joe Buck said this towards the end of the game. The Chiefs, they ran 29 more plays than the Saints. 29 more plays. Keep that. I don't remember the exact number, but the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Ravens ran 25 more plays than the Chiefs in week 1, and they lost. So they were able to get more total yardage, pretty much have the ball for a longer period of time than the Chiefs. But they couldn't win the game. Couldn't win the game. Could have stayed in bounds in the end there. I also missed a wide open Zay Flowers on the play before. I'm just reading a quote from Kareem Hunt. He's just enjoying his moment, which is great. This to me, again, here's my takeaway from this moment right now with the Chiefs. They're 5-0 going into the bye week. And I'll tell you guys something right now. If you told me before the season started that Hollywood Brown's injury was far more serious than we initially heard, and if you told me that Rashee Rice would go down with an injury, Isaiah Pacheco would go down with an injury, Clyde Edwards-Helaire would not be available, I don't know what I would have thought. I would have said this would be a really rough start for Kansas City, and finishing above 500 going into the bye would have been a miracle. They're 5-0 with all of these injuries. So you can't really sit here and complain about the officiating when the Chiefs, they're dealing with a lot of injuries. And by the way, I did want to go back. I think it was Swaggy J who called in and talked about this with some of the other teams out there. And I think Terrence alluded to this as well. I'm trying to pull it up here. So I have every team's record in front of me right now. Let's see. Green Bay was without their quarterback for a couple of games, and Green Bay has kind of been that popular dark horse team. Let's see. Miami, I mean, they lost Tua again, and they just won without him for the first time, I believe, since Tua's joined the Dolphins. Let's go down the list here. San Francisco. I mean, that team has been dealing with a lot of injuries. George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey's yet to play. Deebo Samuel, I believe, has missed a game or two. Now, it hasn't hurt them too much because they've had their backup running back and backup wide receivers step up and play very, very well to the point where they're among the league leaders. But they're 2-3 right now. The Rams, I'm always big on the Rams. I really am. And I'm a huge fan of what they have on offense. I'm a big fan of Sean McVay, huge fan of Stafford, huge fan of Cooper Kupp, huge fan of Puka Nacua. Well, both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, two very good wide receivers, are out. And they're 1-4 right now. The Bengals, I mean, they've got a great offense, but they're 1-4. And again, I'm not here to suggest the Chiefs are going to go all the way undefeated. But man, when you consider what other teams are dealing with, well, the Chiefs are no special. I mean, they're nobody special compared to the other teams when it comes to struggles and just some unfortunate issues right now with injuries. The Chiefs have had it just as bad. There have been some really good teams this year that have dealt with some serious injuries. The Dolphins, I think some people thought they'd be a contender this year, or at least very competitive. They're without their quarterback, and it's been a disaster season for them. The Rams, I mean, they're without two wide receivers, two very good wide receivers. Well, hey, so are the Chiefs. Cleveland's been dealing with some injuries. I know some people thought they'd be able to turn it around, especially with getting Watson back and making the playoffs last year without him. San Francisco, they represented the NFC in the Super Bowl, and they're below 500 to start. I mean, you got some really good teams that are dealing with these injuries. No different than the Chiefs. But right now, you have the Chiefs 5-0, number one in the AFC. I'll read a few comments here. Aaron saying, am I horrible for wanting Butker to get them 3 points instead of doinking the upright? Am I horrible for wanting Butker to get them 3 points? No. Are you asking that you're horrible because you wanted him to make the field goal? I don't think I'm understanding that question. I mean, you know, of course you want him to make the field goal. Like, come on. Unless I'm completely misunderstanding your question there. Dusty says the entire league is plagued with injury this year as well. Yeah, this has been a very wild year for injuries for the Chiefs specifically. And I was thinking about this the other week. I haven't really even talked about this. The last time I can think of when the Chiefs have dealt with so many injuries was probably 2011. Remember 2011? Tony Moeaki got injured in the final preseason game. And then who else? Eric Berry got hurt in week 1. Jamal Charles got hurt in week 2. All torn ACLs, if I recall correctly. That was a very weird start for Kansas City. Now, I mean, look at Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice. They both appear to have season-ending injuries. I know we'll find out for sure tomorrow for Rice, But it appears that they might not play this year. There's a little bit of hope that Hollywood Brown will come back in the playoffs. Listen, I don't know about the Chiefs training staff right now. They have not done a good job handling some of these injuries with Eric Berry, McCole Hardman a couple of years ago, and now Hollywood Brown. So I'm not holding my breath on a lot of that right now. But I'll tell you what, if Juju's playing like this, if Xavier Worthy can get better, if Justin Watson can be a good depth player, if Travis Kelce can continue playing like he has the last 2 games, I feel good about the Chiefs. Let me remind you guys something. Last year, the Chiefs led the NFL in drops by a wide margin. I mean, the way they were dropping the football was at a very similar rate to the 0-16 Cleveland Browns from a couple of years ago. That's how bad it was for the Chiefs. But they won the Super Bowl. They led the NFL in drops. They had the most penalized offensive player and the most penalized defensive player, and they won the freaking Super Bowl. Now, the Chiefs, Jawan Taylor, yeah, but as far as the defense goes, they're not committing a lot of penalties like they have. And listen, as much as I like L'Jarius Sneed and as great of a player he is, unfortunately, he was committing a lot of penalties. And I think that might have been the key factor in the Chiefs going with Chris Jones over him, which I think is looking like a great move, even though Sneed is having a great season with the Titans. But man, this Chiefs team, I mean, they let Tyreek Hill go. They let Tyrann Mathieu walk, which we didn't even hear much from Tyrann Mathieu in this game. I don't even know if he played, to be honest with you. They traded Sneed. They're still winning. How many teams have you seen let top tier players go at their positions and still continue to win? How many teams do you see do that? I mean, this Chiefs team is doing something really special here. And yeah, they're bringing back Juju. Well, Juju got cut by the worst team in the NFL, and the Chiefs are like, you know what? Let's bring him back. And part of it was probably because they felt the injury to Hollywood was worse than it might have appeared. I don't think they were ready for Rice to also go down with an injury, as well as Pacheco. So they go and get Kareem Hunt to come back. And the 2 guys you brought back, they get you 100 yards today. They got you 100 yards today. There's a reason why the Chiefs went and got those 2 guys back. And I think a lot of teams across the NFL are saying, how in the hell does Kansas City do it? You can't be blaming the refs on this one. Can't accuse Taylor Swift of Venmoing anyone or bribing them with Eras Tour tickets. No, you got guys off the street contributing in a huge way for Kansas City. Former players of the Chiefs coming back to the team. You can't sit here and just blame the refs when you could have picked those players up yourselves. But no, and there's a reason why players keep coming back to Kansas City. There's a culture here, a winning culture, a great environment, a healthy environment. And listen, these games have not been perfect. You can go through all 5 games and point out some negatives from the Chiefs. We've done it every week on this podcast. But they're finding ways to win without their top 2 receivers and their top 2 running backs. That is my biggest takeaway from the Chiefs right now. 5-0 going into the bye week. The 2 5-0 teams, the Chiefs and the Vikings, they're both going into the bye week undefeated. The only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. The number 1 team in the AFC and the number 1 team in the NFC. Feeling pretty good to be a Kansas City sports fan tonight. Oh, yeah. Tay and Brittany chilling in the box. You know, people thought they were beefing because of politics. And boy, a lot of the narrative that people have had about this team and the wives, the girlfriends, so much of that is not aging well. Go figure. Salvi, man. Salvi's so special. I hope, listen, I'm happy Salvi is getting one more postseason run in his career. I hope it ends with him lifting up that trophy one more time. I really do. Like, that guy's meant so much to the city. He really has. Yeah, I did see Ed Kelsey. Good old Ed hanging out there. Defense is the big difference. Why we are winning with all these injuries like other teams. Yeah. You know what's funny to me is a lot of people, again, I'm getting Bengals fans in my mentions on Twitter, which is funny. They'll come after me on Twitter, but not on Facebook, which I find hilarious. And they tell me, well, if Burrow had the Chiefs defense, they'd be undefeated. But he doesn't. Go enjoy that hypothetical scenario in another alternate universe. I love when people do the whole, well, if they had this person and that person had this person. Well, that's not how it works. They don't have this person. Oh, but if Mahomes didn't have a good defense, but he does. He does. I don't get people who want to play with all these hypotheticals here. And by the way, for people who want to say the defense is carrying Mahomes, okay. I got no problem with that. Do you guys not remember Patrick Mahomes' first year as an NFL starter? The Chiefs defense was ranked 31st. Mahomes almost went to a Super Bowl with that 31st ranked defense. I mean, if a couple things go differently in that AFC title game, Bob Sutton's 31st ranked defense is playing in a Super Bowl against the Rams, which would have probably been another massive shootout if you guys remember that season. So cry me a river, save the tears about Joe Burrow's defense and all these other issues teams are dealing with. Kansas City's dealing with a lot of shit this year. Mahomes has not played his best. Kelsey got off to a slow start. Injuries across the board. Chiefs aren't feeling sorry for themselves. They're not pouting. They're not bitching and moaning. They're going out there winning. That's why this team has won 3 Super Bowls in the span of 5 years and has played in another Super Bowl. They've been to the AFC Championship game every single year Mahomes has been a starter for this franchise. It's no wonder why they keep finding ways to overcome all these obstacles. Last year, the Chiefs had every reason to lose and not even go far in the playoffs. And what do you know? They won the Super Bowl. Because that's just what the Chiefs do. That is what the Chiefs do. Wilcon. Did I say your name right? Wilcon?
It's Joquan, but
Joquan. Yeah. I apologize, Joquan.
You're good, bro. You're good, man.
What's going on? What's going on?
I just wanted to give my thoughts on the game tonight between the Saints and Kansas City. I just wanted to say that Kareem, he seeing him play tonight was just great to see him run the field. I didn't like how Juju last play, he should have caught that ball, but I like how he redeemed himself the next play and
absolutely
took a whole play down the field. And just seeing Mahomes make that one Drew play, oh my God, that was crazy. Just seeing Mahomes do his thing, and the whole offense and defense was clicking tonight. They was, I don't know how, but they find a way. People don't realize that we find a way to win games for some reason. We find a way to win games to this day. The Chiefs still like to give us heart attacks and stuff. They like playing the close games for some reason. They like still just stressing us out for some reason. I don't know, but I liked Worthy when he ran it in for that 3-yard rush touchdown, and then giving the ball to his number one fan, his mom. So that was a great moment for
cool.
For him to do that. I think that was a great moment. Joe Buck, he's a great announcer, and I had no problems with him tonight. I think he did great. Just hearing him announce and just and then that thing that you mentioned that people wouldn't get. Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that is a Kansas thing. I was like, yeah, all the way, because it was 2nd and 34.
Yeah,
we picked that up. I don't know. We still got a lot to fix going forward. I'm just happy that we're 5-0 on the going into the bye week. This is crazy. The Vikings is still undefeated too, like you said, and I don't know if Kansas City can keep playing the way they're playing, and if we can keep this up, basically, then I have nothing to worry about going forward. Watching the next few games that we have to play, seeing Pacheco and Kareem though in that backfield is going to be something special for sure.
Oh yeah,
when he comes back, it's just going to be a problem. I don't know about Hollywood. I don't know. We haven't heard anything about him. I don't know if he's coming back yet or not. But if he comes back too, then that's going to be another add to our offense, and that's just going to help us in the playoffs more, basically. So, but we're taking it one game at a time. The Royals, they won. This is a great time to be a sports fan. If you're a sports fan, this is a great night. I cannot stop thinking about this night. I think I can go to bed just like Smile. It was all smile. We all can just knowing that both our favorite teams went from baseball to flip. Yeah, this is a crazy night. So I think going forward, I trust in Andy Reid this past more to put pressure on the QBs because I like seeing more of that with Tyson Wharton getting in there, and then what's that one player that took it back? Though it looked like he was gonna take that back, but
you're talking about Brian Cook?
Yeah, I mean not Brian Cook, the person that tipped off when Juju tipped off the pass.
Colin Saunders.
Yeah, him, Colin Sanders. That was a nice play by him. I don't know how, but it when he ran that back, I was like they said, he looks like more like a running back and a defensive player at the same time. So that was just a crazy play. But with the 49ers, that's a game that I'm hoping that we can win after the bye week. Says I don't know how Andy Reid is off of bye weeks, but I know we got a good record coming off bye weeks. So I think as Kansas City fans, we can look forward to playing the 49ers next game and hopefully to improve to 6-0 because, like y'all saying, we're doing this without our best players right now. We're missing some people, offense and defense a little bit, but mostly offense. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on everything tonight. This game was just nervous and stressful also. So
all right. Well, hey, Joe Kwan, I appreciate you calling in. Great
I
job.
appreciate it.
All
I
right.
love your podcast, man. I'm always just sitting in the chat watching, and I just love that after every game you're just on Facebook Live and talking about the game and everything.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you chatting, calling in, and being a part of the show. So thank you so much, Jaquan. Enjoy the great night for Kansas City there. Touch on some good points there. Yeah, we didn't mention Turk Wharton. I've brought up Turk Wharton recently. He's having quietly a very good season. He's not getting talked about a whole lot. This entire defensive line has played very good football. I mean, the sack total, you'd like for it to be higher. But they're playing good football. I mean, they went out there and just gave Derek Carr hell all night. And, unfortunately, he dealt with an injury, and hopefully he'll be okay moving forward. We'll see. But, yeah, the Chiefs, I mean, they're getting ready to play a tough 49ers team. They came off a loss last week, a very tough one to a division rival. Now, I don't think they're going to have a bye next week. I don't know who's on their schedule. But we get to do some nice film study and watch the other NFL teams go at it in week 6. Aaron has a really good question here. Is Mahomes not seeing wide open receivers, wide open being in capital letters, for 5 weeks a glaring concern? Yeah, listen, I would say so. I brought this up multiple times, including this morning on my reel, going over the 3 keys that the Chiefs need to win in this game. But I will say this. I think, first, let me praise Mahomes, and I'll defend him for a bit. Because Mahomes has been missing guys. I thought he did a far better job today getting the football down the field. He was hitting wide open guys. And even when Xavier Worthy was not open, I mean, he was going to him deep a couple of times in this game. One of them should have had a pass interference call, never got that. A really bad missed call there, or a bad no call. And then they go back to him again later in the game, and what do you know? You finally draw up that pass interference penalty because you have defenders who just don't know how to react in a situation like that. When you have a guy who's essentially like Tyreek Hill with his speed going out there, you don't want to allow that big play. Let me read you Patrick Mahomes and his total completions in every game this year. Week 1, he had 20 completions. Week 2, 18 completions. Against the Falcons, 26. Against the Chargers, 19. And that was after a really sloppy start. And then against the Saints, he completed 28 passes in that game out of 39. He threw for 331 yards. He had not thrown for 300 yards in a single game this season. I mean, Patrick Mahomes really played much better today. Looked like he was in his MVP form, in his postseason form. That's what he looked like. That's how great of a game Patrick Mahomes had today. Again, I know the stat sheet, if you look across the board, it's not going to represent that. But if you watch the game you saw a totally different Mahomes. The Mahomes-Kelsey connection was in postseason form. Mahomes played his best game of the year this season. And, there were a couple missed opportunities there. But I feel like Mahomes, to get to your point, Aaron, about the wide open players, he had a couple of misses in this one. Every quarterback has that. But he actually got the ball to wide open players this time. This is something that he had been doing a lot of this season, not getting the ball to those guys. That's what he's been doing a lot of. And he changed that today. And that was a big point of mine for this week, is you got to get those guys, because guys are getting open. On ESPN Analytics, they pointed out that Kelsey is getting open. He's one of the best players in getting open this season. And now you're seeing Kelsey and Mahomes finally connect more. And in this Andy Reid offense, people always love to discredit Mahomes and say, oh, well, he's only doing well without Tyreek Hill because of Andy Reid. Okay, well, in Andy Reid's offense, he finds a way to get receivers open. Unfortunately, Mahomes has not taken advantage of those open receivers. He did that in this game. You saw that with the Juju play. You saw that with several other occasions. Kelsey had a couple of really nice plays. Noah Gray. Mahomes played by far his best game. This was an MVP type of performance. The only thing that doesn't, look like an MVP type of performance is the touchdown numbers. He had a big fat goose egg when it came to touchdown passes, and he had the one pick, not on him, that was off of Juju's hands. But the Chiefs looked like a great football team. That looked like a football team that a lot of people do not want to go up against. A lot of people do not want to go up against that team. Hey, final call for you guys to call into the podcast. I just commented with the link. That'll be my last time commenting with the link for the call to the show. So let me know what if you guys want to chime in, give me your thoughts, and let's chat it up before we go ahead and sign off for the night here. Yeah, the front seven's great, Bob. They've been really, really good. Yeah, I like Colin Saunders, but the Chiefs defense in general still playing very well. Look, the Chiefs have let go of a lot of really good players. Some of them were all-pro, Pro Bowl guys. Some of them never got all-pro or Pro Bowl recognitions, but still were good contributors. And the Chiefs, they're just finding ways to win. I mean, listen, I got told by a lot of Chiefs naysayers this year. They told me, hey, no Willie Gay, no L'Jarius Sneed. Chiefs are in trouble. I mean, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. Where are they in trouble? They're 5-0. Defense does not look much different from last year. I told you guys this year, I think the defense would take a little bit of a step back, but as long as the offense is playing better, and they are, I still think they've yet to play their best football, but as long as the offense steps up and the defense can just hold their ground, which they have this season, Chiefs are going to be fine. Chiefs are going to be fine. This defense has come up with some really big stops. I mean, in week 2 against the Bengals, the sack on Joe Burrow, that was the final offensive play for the Bengals. And then 2 weeks later in week 4 against the Chargers, the Chiefs go out there and they get a sack. It was Chris Jones who got a sack on Justin Herbert. And that was the last time the Chargers offense was on the field. So this Chiefs team, they're finding ways to close games. And it hasn't been pretty in some situations, but they're finding ways to do it. They are finding ways to do it, and they're doing it without a lot of key players. That's the scary part. It's like Mahomes and the Chiefs are doing this right now without these key players. I know I keep bringing that up, but I mean, how can you not bring that up so many times? That's a huge deal right now. A huge deal. Josh says sack total isn't indicative of how they are affecting opposing QBs, and that's a valid point. If you're not getting a sack, the next thing you got to do is pressure the quarterback and force him to throw the ball in ways he doesn't want to. And listen, Derek Carr on that 4th down play actually had a good pass when he was getting the heat from Shamari Connor. That just went through the receiver's hands, almost like the receiver was forming a circle and the ball just goes through that imaginary hoop there. That's what that looked like. But I guarantee you, if Derek Carr had the time he wanted, he probably makes a better play on that, and that's probably a completion there. That pressure from Shamari Connor played a factor in that being an incompletion and a turnover on down, and that led to Kansas City putting the game away. Something the Chiefs have not been doing this year. They have not been able to put teams away and making it a multiple possession game. They did that today for the first time. Last week, they were able to get first downs, move the chains, and put the game away like that. It was a close contest. This time, they were able to make it a 2-score game and basically put the game out of reach and not have a dramatic ending like they have in all of their games this year. No, Joe Kwan, you did not seem shy at all. You had a lot of good thoughts. You were well spoken as far as I'm concerned. So I appreciate you calling in. Sean says offense is starting to click. They were in control. Yeah, again, the offense just played great. When you look at total yardage from the offense in this game, we mentioned time of possession, how great it was. Total yards, Chiefs had 460 total yards. The Saints had 220. Not even half of Kansas City's total. Kansas City just played great in this game. Chiefs had 28 first downs. Saints had half of that, 14, and a lot of them were in garbage time. So, the Chiefs found ways to move the football. The big issue with the Chiefs in this one, the red zone. The Chiefs were 2 of 7 in the red zone. That'll hurt you really badly in the NFL. You cannot be 2 of 7 in the red zone. And I think part of it, they got a little cute with the play calling, even though Juju should have caught it. Listen, I know there's a big debate about this, and I'll stand on this hill. I have no problems with that play call. They did everything right except for the final step, which was pulling the damn ball. But hey, as it's already been brought up by me and a couple of you guys, Juju made up for it on that next play. Or next drive, excuse me. Tried to call him, but can't connect. Okay, a lot of people are unable to find the link or can't connect. We got to find a way to adjust that. I don't get it. I'm not sure what's going on. I do have an idea of what to do next podcast. I'm not sure. I'll have to do a little bit of a test during the bye week, see if it'll work. I'll read a couple of other comments because we got no one else on hold. So we'll read a couple more comments and then get out of here. Yeah, Shamari Connor, monster, pressuring, tackling, monster. Yeah, Shamari Connor. If you guys heard my interview with Duron Cherry, I told him, I said, listen, I'm really excited for the Shamari Connor kid going from year 1 to year 2. He's really stepped up in year 2. I love what I've been seeing from Shamari Connor. He's had a phenomenal season. Got that sack on Joe Burrow I mentioned earlier. Also had that scoop 6 against the Bengals, which helped the Chiefs win the game. Played a big factor, I should say, in helping the Chiefs win the game. And he's made he outside that interception, I believe, forced by Turk Wharton. So you're seeing some really good effort on both sides of the football, especially on defense. Young guys like Connor, who's filling in, doing a lot of things that Mike Edwards did last year. To lose 3 starters and get better on offense, we will be just fine. Yeah, this is, again, like, I was in a really weird state with the whole Hollywood and Rice thing. I mean, I was frustrated, but boy, did Juju step up today. And are we going to get that every single week from Juju? I'm not banking on it, but I mean, if anyone can do it, it's him. So we'll see what he does moving forward, because you need him. You need him. You need Xavier Worthy to step up. Justin Watson. I mean, that's going to be one of your key receivers now. So this is going to be it's going to be a very interesting season for the Chiefs receivers this year. Start off with some hot speed, and now you're down to guys who, these are depth guys. They were supposed to be your depth players. They're now the guys you're relying on. But hey, didn't we see the Chiefs have a carousel with the wide receiver position last year? I mean, Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, they were supposed to be part of your starting unit. Who were the 3 starters last year? Week 1, Kadarius Toney, MVS, and Sky Moore. Yeah. And now you're saying you saw them win the Super Bowl. Mickey says, I love using 3 tight ends. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, the Chiefs came into this game with 4 active tight ends, and we saw them use the tight ends a lot in this game. Jared Wiley's getting a lot of playing time, and you're not seeing the Chiefs throw the ball to him much. He's been used as a more of a pass blocker, which doesn't surprise me. I told you guys in the offseason, this is someone who would be used in pass blocking situations, in a lot of pass blocking situations. Doesn't surprise me with his frame, 6'6", 250 pounds. That's always going to help your offense. So I'm glad to see they found a way to use him and use his size to their advantage. I know he got called for the holding at one point late in the game, but I mean, the game was out of reach at that point. Not a big concern, but Chiefs have got to clean up the penalties. That's the biggest negative to me, especially with the offensive tackles. Chiefs had 6 penalties for 55 yards. Yeah, they gotta clean that up. Got to be better about that. Yeah, it is a Victory Tuesday for some of you, for those of you in the East Coast. Hardman, yeah, and again, like, you're going to get a lot of guys involved because you don't have Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown. And it's going to be difficult for Xavier Worthy because he's expected to do more, but he may not be ready for he's not ready for this responsibility yet. And I think he's not capable of it. I think he is capable of it, but it's going to take some time for him to develop. So let's see what happens there. This Juju, the Juju and the Kareem reunions here, those 2 signings right now, huge. And I know it's been brought up by a couple of you guys. This is a big move by Brett Veach. Huge move by Brett Veach. Kelsey, Gray, Fortson, Wiley out there, yeah. They all played a big hand in today's game, especially with the rushing attack. Man, I would have loved to see that play to Xavier Worthy. Carson Steele was going to flip it to him, but unfortunately, Travis Kelce missed that block there, and that caused a fumble. And that was, 2nd in Overland Park. I can't get over that. 2nd in Overland Park. Oh, boy. 2nd in Overland Park. There are a lot of people who outside of Kansas City are so confused by that. They have no idea what the hell that means. Oh yeah, Samaje Perine. I mean, he got involved too. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that don't show up on stat sheets. Joe Kwan, yeah, 100%. It's a Victory Tuesday in the UK. Hey, shout out to everyone overseas. I know I keep saying that every time I get a comment from someone overseas. You guys are, what time is it overseas? I mean, obviously it depends where, but man, you guys are either waking up really early or staying up really, really late to watch these games. So props to you guys. You guys are the true MVPs. Buck Googled the distance to Overland Park to Arrowhead. That's great. Mickey says, where are all the haters? Their Wi-Fi doesn't work suddenly. They talk all that shit, and now they see the Chiefs are 5-0 and the only undefeated team in the conference, and their favorite team is last place in the AFC, so they can't really do a lot of talking right now. They're definitely silent. Yeah, I don't think anyone's sleeping tonight, Steve. No one's sleeping. And I think Joe Kwan mentioned this when he called in about people staying up late and all that stuff and not going to work tomorrow. Yeah, I have a feeling there are going to be a lot of empty cubicles in some offices in Kansas City. I think a lot of people are taking tomorrow off because of this hangover. Great night for Kansas City. The Chiefs win, undefeated going into the bye week. There will not be a Red Friday live chat this Friday. I'm going to take a little bit of a break here from the live streams. So we'll take a little bit of a break there. However, there will be a Chiefs Zone podcast tomorrow. So instead of Wednesday, which is always our midweek podcast, with the exception of Monday games, we're going to be doing the Chiefs Zone podcast tomorrow. We'll recap the first 5 games prior to the bye week. We'll talk about what the bye week means to Kansas City. No one was happy with the bye week, the placement of the bye week when the schedule came out. I think right now, this is the best time to have the bye week if you're Kansas City. So we'll talk about that, what the Chiefs need to do coming out of the bye week, because they got some difficult games coming up. They're going to be going on the road playing two West Coast teams, the 49ers and then the Raiders. And that's kind of when, after that, you get the meat of your schedule here. In fact, let me just touch on it quickly. I'm not going to break it down right now in detail. We'll do that tomorrow, but you got Tampa Bay after those two road games. By the way, Chiefs two straight Monday Night Football games at home, but they're 1 month apart. Crazy. And it's against another NFC South team. Imagine that. Denver, it's still early, but they look like a good team to start off. Buffalo, yeah, they've been up and down. I know Terrence called in, talked about how Buffalo, they've kind of ran into a brick wall now that they're facing some good teams. Carolina looks like a winnable game. That's the trap game, though, so got to be careful. Andy Dalton does do a good job of exploiting open receivers, and the Chiefs, unfortunately, have had some issues with that, so that's something you got to be careful with, but should be a win nonetheless. You play the Chargers again at home. Cleveland, Houston might be the biggest threat to Kansas City. Pittsburgh's offense is not very good, but their defense is great. And that's something I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in that game on Christmas. So that's what the schedule is looking like in terms of key games the rest of the way after the bye week. So we'll spend some time talking about the remainder of the schedule while recapping the first half for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, thank you to everyone who watched live on Facebook and YouTube. If you guys haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Chief Zone podcast on YouTube. I just commented with the link to the YouTube channel again, so please subscribe to that if you haven't done so already. Would greatly appreciate you guys helping bump up the subscriber numbers on that as we continue to put more video content out there. For those of you who called in, shout outs to you guys. Big thank you to you guys as well. Man, the viewers are going up. Later, I mean, we're about to sign off here, and the viewers are going up, which is unfortunate because I think we all gotta go to bed at some point. But I do appreciate everyone who's tuning in, watching and listening. Big shout outs to all of you guys sharing these videos, sharing the posts, commenting on all of them. Those all greatly help out the podcast a lot. So thank you guys for sharing all the content, everything you guys do. And also for those who listen to the archive version on Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, big thanks to all of you guys as well. Chiefs are 5-0. Royals tie up the series. Appreciate you guys joining me for this episode of the Chief Zone podcast. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central Time. Join me for that podcast. We'll recap the first half of the season, talk about the first 5 games, talk about the bye week, and the remainder of the season with the Kansas City Chiefs. Enjoy the win. Big night for Kansas City. I'm out. Peace.